What's up, guys? Welcome back to Mikey Yourself, and I'm super jacked about this week's episode because I'm showing you or bringing you guys a change to the channel, and that is we're in a new garage, guys. And it's a big thing, not just for me personally, but really for the ability to provide content on this channel. So what do I mean by that? In my prior garage, I was very limited to things that had to be done within a certain window of time because of homeowner restrictions and stuff in my neighborhood. So if there was anything I wanted to do that was going to take me more than a day, I essentially would have to have taken things apart, get to a point where I could put it back together, move the motorcycle around, or even my vehicles, and then the next day kind of repeat that process, which is super inefficient and really limiting to what I can do. Plus the content is super rushed, which was kind of an annoyance for me. So now we don't have that or those restrictions, and this is going to allow us to really produce better material for the channel and hopefully continue to add even more value than what we were previously doing. So because we haven't been really recording in a very consistent cadence, we've got a backup of projects that need to occur, and I've still got some things to take care of in my personal life that will slow me down a little bit, but at least I have a place now where I can effectively perform these videos. And yeah, you know what, enough of that. Let's talk about what we got on deck and what we're going to do today. All right, guys, so like I said, I've got a little bit of a backup of project, but some really cool stuff coming up. Run into an issue with a leaking bead on my 17 Road Glide. So we're going to have to break that bead, clean out whatever's stuck in there, some debris or whatever, and yeah, go from there. In case I have to go further than that, I did pick up some of these rim protectors. Going to try these out and see how well they work. These are from Motion Pro. We've got a suspension to do on the Road Glide. We've got a new tool to try out. This is the rear wheel wrench. So essentially, I think you should not have to, well, it depends, I guess. You may have to remove your exhaust pipe if you have to pull that shaft out and your pipe's in the way, but this is supposed to be a little bit better, I think, than trying to get a big socket in there and then weave your extension through. We've got some trim to add on to the Road Glide as well. This is something that's going to be interesting here. This is a marine grade cigarette lighter slash converter thingy. What I mean by that is, on the Road Glide, and I'm sure on the Street Glide, they have cigarette lighters, and the fairings, they're depending on you, might be potentially useless. It is for me, so I'm going to convert it to a USB charging station plus a battery voltage indicator. So that's going to be really, really helpful. We've got an intake to do on Blue, our Road King. Hey, we got guys going by. Right on. We have a tuner to add into the Road King as well, because I don't know if that bike's ever been tuned, and we've changed out the exhaust. We're going to be changing the intake. We've added baffles into it, so it really probably needs to be tuned in really well. So we're going to jump on a dyno jet to do that. We've got some tire pressure monitoring caps that I want to trial, and what these will be for, and what makes this even any kind of special, is the fact that this is only a set, so there's two, and I'm going to share these between the two bikes for the rear wheel only, because that is the pain in the butt one to get to. Unfortunately, I'm not nearly in the shape that I should be in, and it's a pain to get up and off the ground. And yes, you can take off your saddlebag, but I've got speakers connected, so there's a little bit of a process, right? So quick check, easy to do. We'll try that out. And then this is something the other day I saw an ad, or not an ad, yeah, it was like on Amazon or whatever, but makes you wonder what I was looking up. Anyhow, these are shower caps, even though it looks like a little garter, and we're gonna try this out as far as intake protection when we wash our bikes. So I'm gonna try that out, see if it works. It might be a cool little hack. Maybe it sucks, I don't know. The other option is, you know, tape or plastic bags or whatever. These are so cheap. You get like 50 for like maybe $1 or I don't even know what it was. It was super cheap though. And if you can do that, then cool. Put that with the wash kit and, you know, you're good to go. So anyhow, let's talk about what we're gonna do for this video. All right, guys, so as I shared, we've got, you know, stuff already on the bench, ready to go, projects that need to be worked. Yeah, so we'll be getting going on those things with the next couple of series of videos, and we have more stuff on the way. So, I don't want to ruin, what those things are just yet. Not that it's ruining it, not like you're like, oh, goody, right? Anyhow, but let's do these Leepee tire pressure monitors. I want to see what this process is to get the app on it, how to put them on, all that kind of good stuff. And is it worthwhile, right? I mean, is it that convenient that you don't have to get down on your side or jack your bike up or remove your saddlebag just to be able to check the pressure? Now, granted, that doesn't resolve the need to add air, because if you have to add air, then you're hosed, right? But at that point, you need to take the time out to get your air pressure, your air compressor out, or whatever it is that you use to fill up your tank, or your tire. So yeah, so I guess it doesn't matter anyway. So at that point, you're doing work, you're putting the work in. So let's go ahead and take a look at this product. All right, so let's go ahead and let's check these out. So I think it's supposed to be a pretty simple setup system, whatever you want to call it. You got a QR code probably for the app, and some about range, or I don't know, it's like Q&A stuff. And here's kind of the walkthrough, I guess, on it. And then in the kit, looks like we get one of those wrenches that you end up throwing away. Jack nut, second jack nut. Here's the sensor. These things are huge. That's a big old thing, man. So, me personally, I wouldn't want to put it on the front wheel, just because, I mean, maybe not so much the Road Glide, but definitely on the Road King, because it would, kind of impact what the look of the bike is. So, and I'm sure it's necessary that they have to be this big because there's technology in it, right? And I'm assuming a battery as well. Yeah, it looks like there's probably a battery in there. All right, so let's kind of walk through the process of this. Let's see what we got to do here. So it should be, I would imagine, pretty straightforward. Like you put them on and scan it or whatever. So installation just says that, let's see what they say. Just gonna take a quick look at it. So we're gonna take off the old cap. It says put in anti-theft screws, which I'm guessing is another word for jack nut in their case. Install outer sensor on the tire valve in order. Hold the sensor, tighten anti-theft screw. Please follow the mark and install sensor on corresponding tire. I don't know what the mark is, because there is, like, I don't know if that arrow is just part of their logo or if it's actually supposed to point to something. It's not saying. Mark and install sensor on corresponding tire. Please save installation tools, wrench, and car for installing or uninstalling. After sensor installation, please check if there's tire leakage. All right, so because I'm putting this on two different bikes, I'm going to essentially have to remember what is left and what is right, because or front and back. I don't know what the hell they how they split this up. Oh, actually, it does show right there. So in this app, we're gonna have a front tire and a rear tire. So I'll have to pick, which one's gonna be which, so that way I can remember what bike it is. Maybe I'll get lucky and be able to rename it or something. We'll have to just kind of check that out. So for now, let's put them on. All right, so first up is gonna be our Road Glide.
take off the existing cap. Here's our anti-theft screw there. And we're going to put our you know what? Let's check our pressure before we put this on, and let's see how accurate it is. So let me take that off, and we'll do a pressure check as part of the, hey, is this thing worthwhile kind of thought here. Let me get my air compressor. Alright guys, so I'm going to try to do this one-handed. I don't have my tripod with me just yet. Like I said, just got into the new space. Alright, and let's turn that on. So we're reading 37 or 38. So we're going to go ahead and I'm going to fill this back up to 40. Alright, so now we know we're at 40 psi. Of course, as soon as I flip that little lever, it's going to psst, and we're going to probably lose like half to 1 psi. Who knows? Put that to the side. Now let's install. So I'm anticipating this thing's going to be probably in a range of, 1 to 2 psi plus or minus, right? Which ultimately for me is good enough, just because I just want to know, like, is my tire flat, right? Am I in a position where I need to really put air in the tire? So let's go ahead and put that on, and we'll move the jack nut up, and we're gonna do this one first with the app or whatever, just because I don't know which one's going to be the front sensor and which one's the rear sensor. Oh, alright, I'm going to go ahead and tighten that down, but pretty simple installation. Alright guys, so let's try the app now. We've installed just that one, and let's see how, well, what the hell? Maybe that's not the app. That says the binding. So what app do we need to get? It would definitely be nice to have a QR code just to get to the app, but I guess we'll look up Leepee. I don't know. Let's see. Okay. Oh, I'm dumb. It's right there. Never mind. Let's go back to our camera. Okay, so you want Android for me. Okay, it says it's gonna wreck my stuff. Download it anyways. So once you download it, so just a note, one side is the actual app, the other side, I guess, is, oh, okay, so look, you can actually choose which one, I guess, to make your front versus the rear or something, I don't know. Or you're supposed to put the sticker on somewhere once you figure it out, front and back. Alright, so this is taking a minute. I'm going to go ahead and hang tight while this downloads. Alright, so it downloaded some APK file, which it's like I think a background file or something for applications on your phone. So I'm not really too in tune with that, but it didn't do anything after that. So looking at this being motor care
as far as the app goes. I found Motor Care, downloaded the app, and yeah, we'll go ahead and go through this process. But what I also noticed is the pictures here show the matching arrows to let you know which one's front and which one's back. So that's how you know which one's which. Is this arrow pointing to the right is the rear, this arrow pointing to the left. Kind of match it up to your deal here. So we put the front one on the Road Glide, and yeah, so I don't know why you would need to know what my location is, but let's see here. Allow motor, yep. Okay. Let's go binding. So we're going to scan the binding now, and we're going to do the front wheel. It's going to ask if we can use our camera. We say yeah while we're using the app. So let's go ahead and oh, nice. So it automatically populated these two, so it knows now, I guess. Whatever. So please bind the corresponding tires. Okay. Oh wait. Let's try that again. I think I messed it up. All right, so I don't know, like the instructions, like I said, aren't very good. Apparently when I did the binding, it showed originally the front and the left that were on these card, or that was on this card, it was done, but it doesn't tell you to go back to basically your home page and then you can see your front and rear. And I don't know if I swapped the two or whatever, but basically what it's showing is my rear, which is the one on the Road Glide, is at 25 degrees Celsius and 259.8 kPa. Both measurements I don't use, and then I've got this pressure one here, which is reading, of course, 0 up there, which makes total sense. So I've got to go to system settings. Let's get this into information that I can read. All right, so let's go back. All right, so now we're looking more like normal. So 37.7 psi, and we had put in the 40. I was anticipating this thing should read like 39-ish. So it looks like it's going to be a greater or less than 3. When I install this one on the Road King, I'm going to do the same thing, take a pre-measurement and then do it. In fact, I think I just added air into the Road King yesterday, and I should be at 40 psi, so we'll see what that reads. So I'm going to go ahead, let me put this on the Road King, and then we'll take a look at both of these here. So the Road King should be the front. Alright guys, so we've got them installed now on the Road Glide and the Road King, and if you're ever in need of a pinch for something to lay down on, if you don't want to lay just on the concrete, an old shower curtain does a great job, at least of not letting you get too dirty. Not so great if there's a rock into it. But looking at our readings, they're in alignment. They're about 3 psi off, at least for my Ryobi deal. So, you know, maybe the Ryobi deal is a little bit off, I'm not sure, but ultimately now I know where my pressure's at. All right, so like I said, for me, this is not so much about constant or consistent monitoring or whatever you want to do, is call it or whatever. I just want to know if my tire's super low. You know, you can do the kick, you know, see if you get the right thud sound or whatever on your bike. That works really good too. So whatever works for you, but ultimately what I want to do is just be able to look at something simple. So what's nice though is in this app it looks like you can set warnings. So like this one is looks like 20 psi. So let's go to 59. I just want to see what the warning sounds like. Electric warning lower limit. Or actually, let's go back to 20 on that one because I see. Whoop. They got a temperature warning, lower and upper limit warnings. So let's put this one back because I'm not sure what that one does. Oop. All right, so for the lower, oh, they're gonna be, so it looks like the highest you can set your lower is for 36. I was gonna see if I could just trigger it just to get an idea of what it sounded like, but no go. I'm gonna set it for 30 psi because if the deviation is right, then I should be at 33. When I hit 30, right? So assuming the Ryobi is correct. For the upper, it's set to 43.5. With temperature change, when the tires get hot, I think the pressure goes higher if I remember correctly. So I'm not sure how that's gonna, fare. I'll have to find out. And yeah, so you get a voice warning, it looks like. You know what? Let's see what it does. I'm curious. I want to hear this thing. Make sure volume and notifications are where it needs to be, and let's walk over to the bike and let's undo the cap. See what happens. All right, so let's test this out. I'm gonna undo the cap. Got my phone going. We'll see if I can drop this pressure by just removing the cap. Yep. The anti-theft screws work. I can't take it off. Hang on. All right, let's try this again. Now that I got that anti-theft screw thing nut, we'll undo the cap. Now we should get a warning. Now my phone, sometimes the warnings come a little late. And that might be a me thing.
The pressure in the front tire was too low. The pressure in the front tire was too low. The pressure in the front tire was too low.
All right, guys, so I don't know if you heard it, but there is a female's voice that came on that said the pressure in the front tire is too low. So again, front being blue, rear gonna be the Road Glide here, Hefe. About 3 psi off. Instructions are not very good. So hopefully my stumbling and fumbling helps you out if you're gonna do these, the Leepee ones at least. I can't speak to any of the other ones. However, it appears that the app is not specific to Leepee. So if you have to do the MotoCare application, then that process is probably the same. It doesn't probably matter at all. My guess is, being that these are made offshore, that they're probably identical to each other. So it probably doesn't matter what brand or whatever it is. So anyhow, yeah, we'll have to kind of see. We'll give it a go, see how it works out, and does it have any value? Now, what kind of got me thinking about this was with my front tire and the bead leak occurring. you know, I didn't notice it until I went to move the bike. So I wasn't going to ride it. I was just trying to move it, and it was just a bear to turn the handlebars. Didn't understand it, and then I thought, oh shoot, maybe my tire is low, and lo and behold, that, you know, I was like at 9 psi. So I got to get better at checking my tires, but I also wanted to find a way where I didn't have to crawl around on the ground just to check the pressure in the rear tires. Like I said, if tires pressure is low, then all bets are off. At least this prevents a little bit of you know, some of that issue, just because they are covered up by the saddlebags. Especially if you have the extended or the stretch bags, then you really can't see that rear tire. So this just helps out a little bit more. Anyhow, I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope that I'm gonna bring you much better content than I have in the past. Not that I think any of it is bad. I've got all kinds of traffic going by. I'm on a busier street for sure than my previous neighborhood. So a lot more background noise. I may have to do more of this with the garage door closed. But personally, I'm super excited for this change in my life. Professionally, as far as YouTube goes, I'm really excited because there's so many cool things that I wanted to be able to do that I just couldn't do before, and now I can. So that those chains are off of me, and cool stuff is going to happen. So thank you again for being patient with me. Thank you for following my channel, and thank you for just your support. I really do appreciate it. So until my next video does post, I hope to see you in the wind.